Back in 2019, early 2019, I spoke with Michael Anthony, and he said that there had really been a good chance that Van Halen would have gone back out on tour for that summer, and it was looking to be happening, and there was these rumours of a kitchen sink tour and what have you. Can you set the record straight? How close was that to happen, and why didn't it happen? So hi guys, Jonathan Graham here. We are sitting with an incredibly special guest. Part of Van Halen for over a decade. He's on his third solo album. He's the master of the middle finger tap. It's Mr. Wolfgang Van Halen. How are you today?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Great for seeing you, and you've got to be feeling good because you're back with, man, I'm out of breath just listening to it. Incredible new album. This one has got to feel particularly special. I don't want to be this guy that talks about the title, but it does feel like a new chapter in a sense. Something's coming to an end, something new is beginning.
Totally. I like that you're one of the first people to actually take it that way instead of going like, you're not done, are you? And like, well, no, it's my third album, man. So it's like, but yeah, no, it's very much that concept. I think just kept coming up through the lyrical process, and it just seemed to be that through line that connected all the songs. So,
absolutely,
it felt like the right time, not only for that evolution, because I think the songwriting is a bit stepped up in comparison. I took more chances, on songs like One of a Kind and I Really Wanna, and even the title track. That it's like. I think it just was worthy, and we finally we dropped the WVH, just like Ghost got rid of Ghost BC after a while in the States. So it's like a lot of the end of old, the beginning of new sort of things being explored.
And I would imagine it's probably, I mean, we'll not dive too deep into it right at the start, but I imagine it's the end of maybe some discussions of certain things as well, expectations of maybe what you've been lumbered with on your shoulders, Just talking a little bit about though the actual name itself, because the Mammoth name is a big deal, obviously, for yourself, your family, the band you were part of. How important was that to get that name owned outright?
It feels wonderful. I wanted to do it from the beginning. But being able to have it now is really great. That's the dream. So I couldn't be happier. I
mean, can you talk a little bit about the process? Was it difficult to get it?
No, it's just a matter of there's nobody using it. We're the guys. We're out there for a while proving it. And at a certain point, it's because of the fans. That if people didn't come see us at all, it wouldn't matter. But the fact that people kept coming to see us. We're proving that we're this entity and that we were able to get it. So very happy with that.
Fantastic. Now you mentioned that you're taking some chances on the album. What does that mean for you?
I think, 3 records in, I'm a bit more confident and comfortable in who I am and what the process is for Mammoth. For the pre-production side, it was a bit of I think that was probably the key differentiation between the last 2 records, which was instead of doing demos on my laptop, we did them all in the studio. The studio was set up early enough that we were able to, like I'd tell Jeff, our engineer, to be like, hey, put the tempo here, and I'd play a riff to it, and then I'd run outside and play drums in the drum room, and then I'd come back, play bass to that, and it was this sort of electric, immediately gratifying creative area where we could just, like, screw it, let's try it. And sure, I have this tapping idea, let's see if we can write a song out of it, and that was the end. It's like, sure, I have this goofy little riff. What if we tuned it down to drop A and made it funky? And that's how I Really Wanna came around. Or, I have this slow, almost like Here Comes the Sun sort of, plucky acoustic part. But what if all of a sudden it just explodes into a really heavy song? And that's how One of a Kind happened. So I don't think I would have taken those chances had the process not been that immediately gratifying and that apparent that an idea was like, okay, we're onto something. Because I've had many times where I've been like, bogged down by the software and just not fast enough with it or good enough with it that the idea just kind of just dies.
And I think the thing is, well, the fact that you're such a multi-instrumentalist. I mean, these days we talk about how there's almost sometimes too much inspiration out there, which you can kind of not be able to get out your own way because you're thinking, wait, I think I want to do an album like this, or I want to do a track like this. But when you also do it over multiple instruments, must be some times where you just get a little bit bogged down with too many ideas in a sense and actually making it a coherent song.
Totally. I think that's where this time around I really tried to focus on simplicity, and I think there's a power in that, songs like Happy, I really tried to like lay back and just let the song and the melody do the work. Like on drums, I tried to like I don't think I even tried to focus on playing a specific pattern on the kick and everything. Like I'm usually very very specific on like, okay, here's the pattern for the verse, and then the chorus is this, and then there's the turnaround there. But this time I just kind of played without thinking, and I think the song was better for it.
Now, a couple of days ago, you just released your incredible new video for the song "I Really Wanna," full of Easter eggs for Van Halen fans and for fans of your lore now, your internet lore. How did that one begin?
That was just that main little riff. It was two little ideas. I had that main little intro riff, and then that funky verse riff, which I called Sludgehammer, because it's like Peter Gabriel's Sledgehammer, but super sludgy. So it just kind of came together relatively quickly once I had that main riff and I put them together. It was, I mean, if you listen to the track, it's pretty simple. It's like that one guitar riff, and that's about it. There's not too many. In fact, I don't think there's any layers other than the guitar solo that's on top of it.
Sure.
So it's
that chorus gets in your head, though.
Yeah, it came together pretty quickly. Once I came up with that chorus part, that was it. You know, it was just a matter of figuring out the solo, and that kind of happened in the studio too. So it was that was one of the most like quick, organic, in the moment songs. That
Sonically though, it's just so killer. I mean, just you mentioned though that there's actually not many layers on there, which is interesting because it's such a fat sound.
A lot of space, but it's very heavy at the same time.
Can we talk a bit about the lyrics?
Yeah, sure.
You're not necessarily focused on one person, but there is a line in there in particular that feels like a response to David Lee Roth. Obviously the video, you've got the nunchucks and the sunglasses on. Am I reading into this correctly?
I don't know, that's crazy.
Do you think so?
Yeah, wow. I'll have to think about that.
The line itself that you always said was "that fucking kid." But and your line is "that fucking kid's on the other side."
Yeah.
So what does other side mean for you?
I think, you know, like I mentioned with Mammoth, and it's my comfortability with it now. I feel like, and like you said, you know, this shedding of the old and reaching this new era, so to speak, I think that really plays into it, that I think I've figured out who I am outside of my past, and I'm ready to move forward in this new direction and being this newer and better and healthier version of myself.
Good. I mean, I'm not trying to irk you when I ask questions like that, you know.
No,
obviously.
I think it's perfectly open to interpretation, and anybody's allowed to think whatever they want.
Now, just to focus a little bit on that video, one final thing on it. That fucking kid video. He does end it, his story about the groupie or whatever it was, with that was the last night that he played with your dad. And that was his memory. Yeah. Which I think is sad that is the thing he takes away from that final show. What did you take away from the final show that you played with your dad, and how different was it for you?
It was the best. You know, I'll never forget it. Those two Hollywood Bowl shows were just magic. Never played there before, and just being able to share that with Dad, and you know, I thought it was just almost like such a crazy, like if it was the last show that we ever played, it was like, that was a great one. You know, that's how I always looked at it. Beautiful,
beautiful to hear. Back to the album, the tracks that the guys will have got to hear so far, of course, is, you know, the track we just mentioned, and also The End, which has got this incredible video Robert Rodriguez directed. Talk us about how much fun that must have been putting that one together, and where did the concept come from?
It was crazy, man. Robert had come to a show, and we hit it off and exchanged numbers, and just in the back of my head, I was always like, man, it'd be really cool if he ever wanted to do something, you know. And so when the record was done and The End looked like it was the song, I sent it over to him. And I just shot my shot. I was like, hey, would you be, it's okay if you're not, but would you be at all interested? And he liked it, and he was really stoked on my idea, because I was like, you know, From Dusk Till Dawn's one of my favorite movies of his, and it would be so cool to do this kind of homage, thriller-esque, you know, continuation of the videos, and yeah, he called Greg Nicotero, he called Danny Trejo, and then I called all my friends and family that could be there on a Monday and a Tuesday, the whole day. It was 2 12-hour days. Robert said we did a 4-hour shoot in 2 days, and it was so busy, so much work, but it was so much fun. We just all had the best time. You know? It certainly looks it, and you got some fancy friends there making some appearances. Your mum, obviously, and your wife. It looked like it was a great time. How difficult was it to get everyone involved on the same day? It just kind of all happened. I think, you know, I had some friends that I've known since kindergarten that showed up too. That flew in for it, and you know, I called Myles, and he flew in for it and got the full Walking Dead treatment. Him and his wife. His wife was the vampire, and and then Slash just came by because he was close and he wanted to come by and hang out, and that's when
he was just there anyway.
Yeah, Robert was like, "Hey, why don't you stand over there? It'll be really quick." It was like 2 seconds. I think they shot it twice, and it was just so funny that it was just perfect the way it worked out. It was so fun. Was
there anyone who almost was a part of it but couldn't make it?
No, actually, I was pretty much everything how we wanted it. It really worked out.
Yeah, it's one of those evergreen music videos. I mean, these days, you don't see as much of that, much of the effort in the videos. And of course, when we were growing up, it was everything, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So it's lovely to see. Talking a little bit about 5150 Studios, because I'm assuming the whole album's done there. Yeah. Why would you do it anywhere else? Over the years, there's been a lot of incredible bits of gear in and out of that studio. I mean, in terms of what it's used to actually capture the music. Have you needed to do any renovations recently, change anything out?
No, I mean, it was on the last record, on Mammoth 2, that I ended up getting a new board, which is ironic because it's older. It's a Neve. It's just in much better condition. But really, like the only thing that's new is that there's a flat screen television instead of the tube TV that was there. So it's very much important to keep the vibe and the feeling of the building and how it's been since the 80s. Like, for example, we had to replace a bit of flooring for this wiring that we were doing to make sure everything was good, and I made sure we sourced the exact same type of parquet 80s floor in the same spot, so it doesn't lose that feeling. It needs to still feel like it's from the 80s. Like there's like the duct tape and cigarette burns, over the last 40 years in that building. I think it's very important and part of the character. So I never want that to ever be washed away.
Do you think there's some? I mean, obviously there would be, incredible amount of people that would love to see the kind of the Get Back type treatment for Van Halen. Do you feel like there's enough stuff that's in that studio and what was captured over these? Obviously, there was these leaks last year, all the live performances that would warrant a sort of treatment like that for the band?
There could be. I think overall, that's not so much my wheelhouse. That's very much a question for Al, because he's sort of that. He's the proprietor of it all. I'm just there as that sort of support. Whatever he needs and wants to do, I'm right there.
Is there something though that you've heard in there that you think you would love to get out?
Nothing specific. I haven't had the chance really, because I've barely been home, honestly, with touring and everything. But yeah, no, certainly that would be really cool. I would love to see that.
So you're always working at the instrument. You're doing amazing stuff with Fender, obviously with the EVH brand. Talk us through this partnership and why it keeps going from strength to strength.
I think, after Dad passed, I think we had a lot to prove in that, we were still worthy of having the brand and being able to move forward and create that legacy for Dad moving forward. And so I'm very proud of everything we've been able to pull off. Obviously, Matt Bruck, who founded the company with Dad, is very much still at the top and the forefront of all the decision making, and we're using, this roadmap that Dad had laid out. So many ideas that he's had, that we're still working on to this day. And then, branching out into other spots. We have the bass that we're working on and prototyping that we've been doing for a while, and then, we've got the SA-126, and which was kind of born out of a necessity for me, and how Mammoth is, and needing that sort of performance semi-hollow, and it's really fun to kind of branch out and try something new, and to see that resonate with others is a really cool thing in sort of this new, second generation era of what we've got going on with EVH. So it's very exciting.
Absolutely, and of course with this new batch of 10 tracks, playing them live, new tunings, what have you, does that change, set up with the guitar and how the guitar evolves?
Not really. It's funny because once we arrived at this, I think my bug to get new guitars has kind of quelled a little bit. That it's like I mean, ever since we've gotten this, it's all I play live, and it's just the perfect workhorse for me, and it's incredibly versatile from cool clean stuff to chuggy metal stuff. So it's everything I've ever wanted.
What can we see from you live next year in the UK?
We've got this headline tour at the end of the year in the States after the record comes out on October 24th. And then we have a lot of plans to finally get back out here next year. And we've done some headline shows, but we've never done a full headline run. So that's what we have planned next year.
Incredible. No, we look forward to seeing that. Now,
thank you.
I'm not trying to do a Billy Corgan, you know, start the interview and say I'm not going to talk about your dad and then talk about your dad for, for the interview. It was entertaining, you know, it looked like you had a good time. But one thing I do just want to clear up, especially now it's the end, you're probably going to be like, I don't really want to be answering questions like this again. So there's a couple of things I'd love to know the definitive on. Now, back in 2019, early 2019, I spoke with Michael Anthony. And he said that there had really been a good chance that Van Halen would have gone back out on tour for that summer, and it was looking to be happening, and there was these rumours of a kitchen sink tour and what have you. Can you set the record straight? How close was that to happen, and why didn't it happen?
You know, it was Dad's health. You know, you know, that had been always our idea. You know, Dad and I came up with that idea, kitchen sink tour, when we were in the hospital in 2019, and it just always was working under the assumption that things would get better, and it didn't. And so that's why. Okay. No, well, there's nothing more definitive than that. And obviously, you've said it many times. You've even said it to myself in this room about you know, the likelihood of anything happening and why tributes that shows didn't happen. What would be the chances, though, you would do an album with Sammy and Michael? Never. It's just not in the cards for me. You know, Mammoth is very much where I'm happy, and you know, I've nothing but appreciation for Van Halen and its history. But when it comes to Mammoth, that's all I want to do. Now,
the new album is full of incredible guitar solos. It's what we expect from you, as well as all the other stuff. High bar to set, of course. What's your approach these days to writing solos? It always feels like you've got plenty to say every time you pick up the guitar.
Yeah, I think it's still kind of what it was on the last album, where I treat solos as if they're like their own like little song with movements within the song. So I think you can hear that, and you know, with their own crescendos and stuff, and like for like Same Old Song, and for, you know, I Really Wanna, or for One of a Kind, they're just kind of there to support, you know, this. I'm never really a guy who improvises something too much. I mean, there was a little bit of that in I Really Wanna, and especially Better Off. That was one that was pretty almost directly improvised. But I like to spend my time crafting the perfect solo for the song, and so I definitely had a lot of fun this time around.
Who would you say is your biggest inspiration on the guitar?
Right now, it's Intervals. It's Aaron Marshall of Intervals is just my favorite guitar player. Not only is my favorite guitar player, but he's just my favorite guy. He's just a good person, you know. Yeah, I'm very inspired by him as a modern player.
Absolutely. Now in this album, you know, you've done everything on there. Well, you never know with you. You know, there could always be someone secret in there that you probably not tell us for 20 years. If you could collaborate with somebody though in the Mammoth field, you know, like for the next album, and you wanted someone to come in, who would be a good addition, do you think, to an album? Someone you'd want on there?
I would like to collaborate with Maynard from Tool, because we kind of hit it off when we did the thing for Ozzy, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame last year. So I think that would be really cool. He's one of my favorite singers. So to be able to like harmonize with him or something would be really fucking cool.
I'll tell you what that would be. And then just final thing, you were announced to be part of the Ozzy tribute. You had to pull out, obviously, because you were doing your tour with Creed. You talk us through getting that call to do that, and was it a difficult decision to not be able to show up for it?
Yeah, it sucked, man. We had the flights, we had the hotels booked, and when the rehearsal schedule moved and overlapped with our own rehearsal schedule for the tour, we just couldn't do it. And then by that time, even if we wanted to, couldn't get tickets and couldn't, you know, Birmingham was completely booked up. But I take some pleasure in the fact that I was at least able to do the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame thing for Ozzy and see him then and spend some time with him.
And then you got lumbered with the guy who was supposed to be kicked off the tour. Off the show. Do you know who that? Do we know who that was? No, I don't think Sharon's ever said. Obviously, there's been more pressing things.
Oh yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, I have no idea. I have no idea. Yeah. You know, I was. Sharon and I are very cool. She's very sweet. So I hope it wasn't me. No, we couldn't do it. So it's not like we were kicked off.
No, absolutely. Look, Wolf, absolute pleasure to chat to you as usual.
Thank you, man.
Congratulations on the new album.
Thank you so much.
And we'll look forward to seeing you next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait.